Brown's handling of Shedeur Sanders after Joe Flacco trade explained. As Jason Lloyd of The Athletic noted on Thursday, Cleveland Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski will likely promote Bailey Zappe from the practice squad to the active roster so Zappe can serve as the club's primary backup quarterback over rookie Shedeur Sanders for this coming Sunday's game at the Pittsburgh Steelers, 3-1. During the latest edition of the Orange and Brown Talk podcast, Browns beat reporter Mary Kay Cabot of the Cleveland Plain Dealer explained why Sanders may remain Cleveland's emergency third-string quarterback after the club traded Joe Flacco to the Cincinnati Bengals on Tuesday. Browns don't want to set Shedeur Sanders up to fail. When Shedeur Sanders goes into a football game for the very first time, I think it should be with a game plan that is uniquely suited for his skill set to help him look good and to maximize what he's able to do as a football player, Cabot said. When you put Shedeur in, you have to tailor the game plan exactly, precisely, perfectly to him, or you're setting him up to fail. Cabot essentially echoed a previous report that suggested the Browns could keep Sanders sidelined until they choose to give him a full week of practice and a game plan built for him as their starter. 2025 third-round draft choice Dillon Gabriel is on track to remain in the lineup after he completed 19 of 33 passes for 190 yards and 2 touchdowns in Cleveland's 21-17 Week 5 loss to the Minnesota Vikings. During the podcast, Cabot mentioned that Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin and star pass rusher T.J. Watt will look to take advantage of Cleveland's weaknesses at the tackle positions regardless of who is under center at Acrisure Stadium. All it takes is one concussion check and one independent neurologist to say, Gabriel is not going back in a football game, and it's Shedeur's game, Cabot said about Sanders possibly being Cleveland's QB2 in Pittsburgh. And I just don't think you need to put yourself through that right now or put him through that right now. Analyst sounds alarms about what Dillon Gabriel isn't. For a piece published on Thursday, The Athletic's Nick Baumgardner wrote that Gabriel's arm talent is simply below average for an NFL QB. Baumgardner also feels that the Browns can only ask Gabriel to do so much until Sanders is deemed ready to start. For now, it seems like Sanders will remain an inactive spectator for at least another game. As of Thursday afternoon, ESPN BET had the 1-4 Browns as 6.5-point underdogs against the Steelers. The Cleveland Browns quarterback room has once again become a story only Cleveland could script, part drama, part mystery, and part potential redemption tale. When the team decided to trade veteran quarterback Joe Flacco, fans thought it would clear the air and pave the way for Shedeur Sanders, the rookie phenom and son of NFL legend Deion Sanders, to step confidently into the backup role. Instead, the Browns' handling of Shedeur in the aftermath of the trade has left analysts and fans alike scratching their heads and asking, what exactly is Cleveland's plan here? A trade that sparked more questions than answers. When news broke that the Browns had traded Joe Flacco to the Cincinnati Bengals, the initial reaction around the league was that Cleveland was doubling down on youth. Flacco, though experienced and respected, was never seen as a long-term piece for the team. His departure seemingly opened the door for Shedeur Sanders, who had been waiting patiently behind Deshaun Watson. However, as head coach Kevin Stefanski addressed the media, the optimism quickly turned into confusion. Stefanski refused to confirm whether Sanders would be named the new backup. Instead, he spoke vaguely about competition, development, and evaluating all options. Those words may sound diplomatic, but in the NFL, they often signal uncertainty, or worse, distrust. For a young quarterback who came to Cleveland with sky-high expectations and the pressure of carrying his father's legacy, that hesitation was more than just a procedural answer. It was a sign that his future in Cleveland might not be as secure as once believed. Inside the Browns' quarterback logic. So why is Cleveland hesitating to elevate Sanders? The reasoning, according to team insiders, is layered and complicated. First, the Browns are concerned about readiness. Sanders, though immensely talented, is still adjusting to the NFL's speed and complexity. His college success under Deion Sanders at Colorado showcased elite decision-making, leadership, and accuracy, but that doesn't automatically translate to the pro game. The Browns reportedly want to protect him from being thrust into action too early, especially behind a patchwork offensive line and a run-heavy system not designed for high-volume passing. Second, Stefanski's system demands a quarterback who can execute with surgical precision. It's a playbook that relies heavily on pre-snap reads and tight timing, skills that can take years to master. While Sanders has shown flashes of brilliance in practice, insiders say the coaching staff believes he needs more seasoning before he can reliably run the offense. And third, there's the Deshaun Watson factor. The Browns have invested heavily in Watson, financially and strategically. Naming Sanders as the clear-cut backup, especially one with a rising public profile, could create an unwanted quarterback controversy if Watson struggles. The organization may be trying to keep the spotlight firmly on their $230 million franchise QB, rather than letting a charismatic rookie steal headlines. The Deion Sanders effect. Of course, no conversation about Shedeur is complete without mentioning his father, Deion Sanders. The elder Sanders, now one of college football's most magnetic coaches, has been publicly supportive but privately protective of his son's NFL journey. When the Browns declined to immediately promote Shedeur, speculation erupted that Deion might intervene, or at least voice frustration. While Deion hasn't spoken publicly about the Flacco trade or Stefanski's decision, those close to him say he's keeping receipts. He wants to see how the Browns handle his son before passing judgment. That dynamic adds pressure to Cleveland's coaching staff. Any misstep could be magnified by the sheer media power the Sanders family commands. ESPN analysts have already questioned whether the Browns are mismanaging a potential star by keeping him on the sidelines, especially after shedding veteran depth. Fans are growing impatient. For Browns fans, patience has never been the team's strong suit, especially when it comes to quarterbacks. After decades of instability at the position, many believed Shedeur represented a rare opportunity for stability and excitement. His charisma, work ethic, and big-game poise reminded some of the early Russell Wilson years. Social media lit up after the Flacco trade, with fans demanding Stefanski give Shedeur a chance to prove himself. "Why draft him if you're too scared to play him?" one fan wrote on X, formerly Twitter. Another chimed in, "We didn't trade Flacco just to sit our most talented QB again." The sentiment is clear. Cleveland wants a fresh start, and Shedeur embodies that. But the team's conservative approach risks alienating a fan base desperate for change. Analysts offer their take. NFL analysts have been split on Cleveland's handling of the situation. Former quarterback and ESPN analyst Dan Orlovsky suggested that the Browns are walking a tightrope.